Shalom. Keeping kosher for Passover is a challenge, so I'm going to do a series of videos to help people do it and explain it simply. First of all, the thing that is the verboten on Passover is chametz. Now, the Torah says you can have no chametz in your house, you can't benefit from it, you can't eat it, so we have all these steps to get rid of it. First thing we do is we stop buying chametz, and then we go through all our cupboards and shelves and refrigerator and get rid of all our chametz. Anything that you can donate, please do. It's a great mitzvah to a food shelf, or throw it away if you can't donate it, or you can segregate it. And you can segregate it into a place, and then you should sell it. And we have forms online to help you sell your chametz, or go to your rabbi if you have one. It's just a temporary sale for the holiday of Passover so that you fulfill the biblical idea of not having it in your possession. Okay, then we actually have a cute little kid-oriented activity where we do bidikat chametz, checking for the chametz. We turn off the lights, we light a little candle, take a feather and a spoon, although today you probably would use a little vacuum cleaner, and you go around the house and you pre-plan in little bags some chametz so your kids can find it if you have kids. Really fun activity. It's called bidikat chametz. And mechirat chametz is the selling of the chametz. And then the day before Passover in the morning, you burn the chametz. Now, this year not on Saturday because it's Shabbat, you don't burn. It's called biur chametz. Now, what is chametz? Excuse me. Chametz is any of the grains which are allowed to leaven and to grow. So that's defined as any time that these grains, the 5 grains, which include wheat, oats, rye, barley, or spelt, come in contact with water after being cut off from the ground, it can become fermented, or chametz. And so matzah is basically from wheat, but by the time it hits the water until it comes out of the oven is less than 18 minutes, which is defined by the sages as not having fermented or yeast or chametz. And the Torah says they did this to remember the haste with which our ancestors left Egypt. Now, in addition, but basically if you have matzah, then you can make anything out of it. That's how come now you can have cakes and cereal and different things, or of course if you use a food that's all permitted by itself, like potatoes, you have all these products now that look like they're normal products. You can make, matzah cake and matzah desserts and things like that. Okay, now, in addition to that, the Ashkenazim, Jews who come from Eastern Europe, have additional prohibitions called kitniot. Now, what are kitniot? Beans. And here, Russian Jews eat green beans generally. German Jews do not. Rice, corn, or peas. Now, why not? Well, it's not that these things can really become chametz. The rabbis, the Ashkenazic rabbis, forbade their use because flour was made from them. And Ashkenazic rabbis said you can't use them at all. Sephardic Jews do not observe these restrictions. So, for example, you go to Israel and you see bakeries. There's loads of bakeries that say kosher for Pesach for Sephardim. Now, peanuts, I believe the Orthodox don't use peanuts. Ashkenazic, non-Orthodox Jews, the conservative rabbis, we do permit peanuts. But again, if you're going to buy peanut butter, for example, it has to be completely 100% peanut butter, the kind that goes in the refrigerator. No mixtures, because even if you buy something before Pesach, an infinitesimally small amount, less than 1/60th of chametz in the product makes it chametz. So you have to be very careful. All right, so I already explained why we prepare our houses for chametz so thoroughly. Now, what foods may not be used by Passover at all? Any of the following that's not kosher for Passover: leavened bread, cake, biscuits, crackers, cereals, wheat, barley, oats, rice, beans, dry beans, and liquids which contain grain alcohol. Now, there are certain foods which require rabbinic supervision for Passover. Now, there are some differences between conservative rabbis and the Orthodox. Conservative rabbis, knowing how expensive Passover food is compared to regular food or regular kosher food, try to limit those things to things that absolutely have to have kosher certification. But you can go to a kosher grocery store and find all kinds of foods which we think don't need rabbinic supervision, which the Orthodox do, and pay a lot more for them. So if you're Orthodox, you probably want to talk to your Orthodox rabbi about what they think needs to be kosher for Passover. So here are the foods that we say need rabbinic supervision for Passover: matzah, noodles, candies, cakes, beverages, canned and processed foods, jam, hard cheese, jelly, relish, wines, liquors, salad oils, vegetable gelatin, shortening, and vinegar. Kosher Pesach label has to have a rabbinic signature. This applies to all products made in America, Europe, or Israel. Now, what things require no certification? Pure natural coffee, sugar, but not confectioners or powdered. That needs certification. Brown sugar, saccharin, tea, salt, pepper, vegetables, dry beans, and peas are forbidden. String beans are permitted. Pure garlic and onion powder, dried fruit, honey, Hershey's cocoa, pure unadulterated safflower or soybean oil, natural peanut butter, dish detergent, scouring powder. Now, these should all be bought before Passover and left unopened until Passover begins, because the tradition is a little more lenient about things you buy before Passover versus things you buy on Passover. Okay, so that's enough to digest for one video. Keeping kosher for Passover, number 1.